Hello everybody, Flamin' Shark back with another video, and this is the review for my blind commentary, blind reaction to Sausage Party, which was a bonus film for the month of October. I guess for some people, they might consider this a October-themed movie because I could definitely see some people classifying this as horror. I would not be one of them. I found this movie quite funny, even though it was something else, to say the least. It was very much a Seth Rogen kind of style movie. You know, James Franco was also in it, and he would kind of fall into that category. It was a movie that went down some roads that a lot of their films, live action films, mind you, would. And I think the thing that kind of made this interesting was the fact that it was animated. And I really have, as far as I can think of, really have not seen an animated film like Sausage Party. And I think that's what makes Sausage Party unique and interesting, is that it's animated. And it's like this. It's one of these like Seth Rogen kind of style stupid comedy movies, but it's animated. So if you don't know, and I've not talked about this much, I kind of like popped for Seth in Invincible, I believe, if I remember correctly. But he's actually one of my favorite actors, and he's probably near the top of the list for like stupid comedy actors that I like. But he is actually someone who does actually have some interesting. I think he actually has some pretty solid nuance too when he's in a bit more serious of a role too. But he's actually one of my favorite actors. I enjoy those stupid comedy movies. I think they're just fun, and it's okay to just have a movie that's fun and dumb. And sometimes they do have some depth to them. And I think this was one where I definitely think this movie was fun and dumb, but also had some depth to it. But where I think this movie was weird, and where I think this movie kind of fell a little bit for me, was the more nuanced depth that this movie has kind of gets thrown away by the very obvious, or as I referred to it in my actual reaction, the tongue-in-cheek fuck you approach to a lot of the comedy. It was so on the nose. It was so, and I say tongue-in-cheek fuck you because like, or right, so it's like very, very, very sus. So I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun, but like I said, like, they leaned so hard into a bunch of stereotypes to make like very broad, obvious political commentary, but like in a way that it doesn't hit, because it's like, oh yeah, like anyone who has half a brain can figure out everything without even thinking about it. Like, you don't even need to think to see, I see what you did there. And I think that's where the movie kind of falters for me. It's so obvious. And I think that sucks, because there was more subtle nuance in the actual messages of the movie, which I think were very positive, very cool. I think the lessons in this movie were really good lessons that apply to all of us. And it was a lesson that, and I think like the primary lesson that the movie was really trying to teach us is not something that you see very often in movies or media in general, not even just in animation or in adult-oriented content. I think it was honestly a very important, legitimate, valid message that was portrayed in a very nice way. And I think despite the fact that the movie was so crude and was, very sus, it portrayed that message in a good way. And I think that's something that I can really appreciate about this movie. So I think there's a lot of actual like interesting nuance in this movie, which I think is what makes the dumb shit that was like I like the dumb shit, and like there were a lot of funny jokes involved in it, but a bunch of, I don't mind the language and all that. I just think the characters were so on the nose that I think the commentary related to the characters fell a little flatter, because it was all obvious the parallels that the writing staff was making with that. And I thought that was kind of weird. It was very on the nose for this type of thing, but it was still felt odd, because I feel like this movie actually had some really nice nuance that didn't tonally fit with that. Like, I feel like the like the swearing and the narrative and the way it was portrayed, I feel like that all fit. It was just, the characters were a bit much. I mean, I don't mind. It doesn't offend me or anything. I'm sure it offends some people, but I don't even care about that. I just feel like it didn't quite fit the movie. Like I feel like if the movie was a little bit more, turn your brain off and have fun, I think it would have fit a little more because it's just, it's just like a base form of humor, like stereotypes, because people do find that funny, and to be fair, I don't blame them. But I think where it loses me is that this movie had nuance, it had depth that was honestly kind of impressive in some ways, and I think like that's where the disconnect is. Like the movie didn't know if it was trying to be really good or just dumb fun. I feel like it kind of was a little of both, but it probably could have been maybe a little more fun or a little good, but it was still a good movie and was still a ton of fun. I mean, it's fun. Yeah, I think a lot of people would not peg me as the type who's into Seth Rogen, though. I think that would probably surprise a lot of you, but I actually find him very funny. I know a lot of people find him not funny at all, but I actually do really enjoy his sense of humor. I think it's great. I mean, it's stupid as hell, but I appreciate stupid comedy a lot more than I think people think, because it is a big criticism of animation for me, is that I don't like stupid comedy. Now, I feel like a lot of the stupid comedy in adult animation is actually stuff that a lot of the times I'm not the biggest fan of. It depends on the series, but it's like so played out. I think adult animation stupid comedy is like the genre, and I think it's really it's just really played out, and I would love to see more when it comes to adult animation. I'm looking for more Invincibles, and it doesn't have to be anything like Invincible, but just like more serious narratives, and to varying degree. I mean, even with like some of the more dramedy stuff that kind of is like a comedy but is kind of a drama, BoJack Horseman, great example. I would even say Rick and Morty is kind of a bit more serious than most of your typical stuff that we get. So like stuff like that kind of gives me more of that vibe. But even just going out of the general comedy genre altogether is something that I'd love to see more of. And this movie, while it didn't do that, it still gave us an animated adult film, which in and of itself is incredibly rare, because while we've broken into the TV genre with adult animated films, the movie scene does not really have much of any adult animated films. So the fact that this movie exists just purely on that alone, on principle, makes me very happy this movie exists. And hopefully we'll get more of different stuff like that, or I guess in some cases not like that in the future, but that's for another time. I just had something to say. So links are down below the description to the reaction on Megan Breach. And yeah, if you want to check out my Patreon, support the channel, vote on movies that I'll react to. This movie never won a poll, but it got close 1,000,000 times, so there is that. But yeah, there's always a movie poll going on every month and fun stuff like that. So anyways, I don't think I have anything else to say. So yeah, without any further ado, it is time for me to bid you adieu. Flaming Shark signing out. Hope you guys have a wonderful, fantastical day, and I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace.